How did you end up in the coffin, sir?
I was put here.
In the coffin?
Yes. Please, help.
And you're saying the coffin is buried?
Yes, yeah, I'm a truck driver. I'm an American. It's hot in here and I can't breathe.
Do you know your location, sir?
I told you somewhere in Iraq. Please help.
Iraq?
Yes, I'm a truck driver. I'm an American. I work for CRT.
Are you a soldier, sir?
No, please, you have to listen to me. I'm a truck driver. I'm an American. I'm a civilian contractor working in Iraq. We were attacked at Bakhmut and they shot them. All of them.
They shot who, sir?
All the other drivers.
And you're saying this happened in Iraq, the country?
Yeah, please.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good. This is episode 185, and tonight we are talking about Buried. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew. There is a snake in my coffin, Jemison.
Okay. I've never really been freaked out by a movie, but this one has wrecked my life.
Isn't that the point of movies? To make you feel something you might not otherwise feel?
Maybe. I don't know. Corny. Corny. Blackberry for the win, Logan.
And so the first thing I would have done with that BlackBerry is, because this things were so awesome, I would have made it turn into a jet, and I would have flown myself out of the coffin.
All right, that's cool. I would love to have seen them.
Speaking of things where you feel things, I feel like this does a good job as well.
Oh, yeah? You're holding up a bottle of Jim Beam?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
All right, well, okay, sure.
Nice.
You do you, man. And Sam, oh my gosh, sorry. And Sam, what? Steve Toblowski, I can't say his name. Steve Toblowski is
Mike Wazowski.
Sam, Steve Toblowski is a douche vector.
Is there a movie where he's not?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Ned, it's Ned Ryerson. I sure as heck if I remember you. Sorry. You sing Groundhog Day, it's that guy.
Yes, hello there, Sean. After witnessing this, I feel the need to have good thoughts and comfort in our lives after watching this movie.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right, well, if that doesn't tell you what kind of movie this is, that Sam didn't threaten to put me in a coffin,
Yeah.
then that should tell you something. So pull up a comfy coffin and let's get buried into this movie.
This is like Van Wilder's worst day ever.
No kidding. So this movie, 2010's Buried, super low budget movie.
$3 million, right?
I don't think it was even that much. I think it was $1 million.
And it was all Ryan Reynolds' paycheck.
Well, pretty
probably.
close. Pretty close to it, probably. I don't know if this is one of those, take a chance on the movie and we'll give you, money on the back end if it makes money, kind of deals. I don't know. But it's an art piece. I mean, it's yeah, you're right, Sam. Budget $3 million. It made $1 million.
Oh, really?
It made worldwide it made $20 million worldwide, almost $20 million. It didn't show. I mean, it only made in America. It only aired on 11 screens.
Okay, and that's why.
Yeah, so
I don't know if I'd go to a movie theater to see something like this. This is This is painful.
Well, it was super low budget, not low budget, but it was like an indie film, right? Like you guys saw the 13 freaking indie credit companies in the opening credits for the movie. And the opening credits, I have weird things to say about the opening credits. But yeah, it's super, cheap and low budget and indie, and it's very art, whatever. Because when you click on it on IMDb, one of the first things that pops out at you, besides the Progressive commercial, is that it got 32 nominations for awards, which means that they shopped this thing around to a bunch of, nominated for Best Actor for a Saturn Award. Camera Image won the Bronze Frag for main. What is this? Cinema Writers Circle Awards in Spain won Best Editing. I mean, it's a bunch of these film festivals. The Duval Film Festival, it won Best something. The Dublin Film Critics. So it's stuff like that, right? So I mean, it's got 15 awards, but it's all this MTV Music Best Scared as Shit Performance, Ryan Reynolds. Okay, that's a thing, sure. So yeah. So anyway, Andrew, tell us a little bit more about this movie, if you would.
Okay. Paul is a U.S. truck driver working in Iraq. After an accident by a group of Iraqis, he wakes...
After an attack.
No. That doesn't make any sense at all. Why would that be the sentence?
Right.
Let's try it one more time.
Okay.
After an attack by a group of Iraqis, he wakes to find that he is buried alive inside a coffin with only a lighter and a cell phone. It's a... Click on the rest to continue. Race against time to escape this claustrophobic death trap. Sorry, there you go.
Cool, thanks.
That was all jumbled. This will wreck your life, just so you haven't seen it yet.
Yep. I'm using public Wi-Fi. Once again, I'm recording from not home. I'm in a different location, so I'm actually going to kill my camera to save on bandwidth. I'm recording tonight from somewhere outside of Pine Mountain, Georgia, wherever the hell that is. Using
I must be on the racist side of Georgia.
Is there or not? I'm just teasing. No, we love you, Georgia. Just teasing.
What is we shit?
I'm just teasing. No, this movie, we've already kind of hinted at it. This, I'm gonna start by just saying this, and then we'll go around the room as we do and do our little things. This movie is gonna do to me what Snowpiercer did to me for 2 years. Snowpiercer kind of wrecked me for a little while.
Give you a nice one.
That movie gave me not nightmares, but it gave me pause and
It made you think, yeah.
it made me think, and it made me uncomfortable, and there's so much in that movie to think about and to digest, just not the protein
Sean
bars.
Root.
Yeah, I kind of was rude, actually. It's actually a pretty apt description, Corny. Thanks. This is going to be my next Snowpiercer. I had a 3.5-hour drive today, and I listened to a podcast, and I had to stop it about 4 times and rewind because my mind kept wandering back to this movie. And not even because of the whole "what would I do" scenario. That hasn't really occurred to me yet. I mean, we all kind of put ourselves in situations. That's what we do in movies, right? We all kind of think, well, what would we do? Mm-hmm. We're Spider-Man. What would we do, right? You kind of do that in this movie. At least I did. I'm sure you guys maybe did. I don't know. We'll find out. But this movie has just sucked the joy out of me. Like, this movie made me sad. It made me angry. Oh my God, it was so angry.
So frustrating.
Oh, it was so angry. And anyway, I don't want to get too far into it. I just wanted to say off the top of that. I had to say that. I just get that off my chest that one, this is my next Snowpiercer, and I'm gonna bring this movie up. We're gonna do some damn Christmas movie and I'm gonna go, hey, you know what was really great? Buried, and how depressing it was, right? Like that's gonna happen, right? Like I would randomly bring up Snowpiercer, because I know it's gonna happen. I just do, and we're all gonna freeze and die. Okay, so Andrew, yeah.
What happens if the engine stops? We all freeze and die.
Okay, so
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
yeah. All right, Andrew, you're up. If you give us your initial, I guess before we get to yours, Andrew, I just want to ask the question of the three of you. I know this is obviously the first time that any of us had seen this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Do we want to talk about the ending now or wait?
I say we wait.
Wait. Okay, we'll let it get there naturally. All right. So Andrew, you do your thing.
Wait, when did this movie come out?
2011. We're gonna spoil it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. It's outside of the spoiler window, so it doesn't
Yeah. It's 7 years, so we're fine. I didn't know if we wanted to just start there and work our way backwards or how we wanted to do it. So we'll get there naturally, whatever.
Okay. Well, as you have said, this is the first time for all of us on this, and
the last.
I'm the type of, let me put it this way. I'm the type of person that I have always believed that I didn't fear much of anything. Like, I didn't have a true fear. You know, people are like, oh, I'm afraid of snakes. Oh, I hate spiders, whatever. None of that stuff's ever bothered me. But now, thanks to this movie, being buried alive must be the worst possible death that anybody could ever experience. And just, you've heard about it. Of course, I've heard about people being buried alive before, and you think, well, whatever. But to witness an hour and a half of it,
Yeah.
And never leaving.
and then,
Never having an opportunity to leave it. Yeah.
it literally wrecked me. Like, I was sitting there going, okay, this has got to end sometime. He's got to get out of this. Somehow this is going to end one way or the other, or something happen. No. It just kept on and on
Yeah.
and on
And
to
you
the
were
point where I was having anxiety. Like,
yeah. And
I did not I couldn't sleep. I watched it last night. I couldn't sleep after I watched it.
well, and like you as the viewer, we want a reprieve, right? We want an opportunity
to breathe.
to literally stretch our legs, right? We want a flashback. Show us a flashback of home or of him driving the truck, a memory, right? We need something to help us as the viewer to reassure us that there's still life on the outside. We never get that.
You're stuck in that box with him for an hour and a half. Gosh. And there is no relief. And that makes it so uncomfortable.
Yeah. And it gets worse.
So worse.
It just keeps getting worse and worse.
And when you get the cell phone in the scene, you think, all right, he's going to contact somebody. He's going to somehow, they're going to find him. And he calls 4 or 5 people and nobody picks up the phone. And that's like a real thing.
Right.
I call people all the time and they don't answer. I can leave them messages. It could be 3 days before they call me back.
Yeah. I think I left a message for Chad about 5 years ago. Rest his soul.
Yeah. That's about right.
I don't know. As far as the movie itself, I thought that it was done well because it, I think, did what it was supposed to do, which is wreck me. And
Emotionally.
Yeah. And, Ryan Reynolds did a great job, I think, of making me believe that this is it, Yeah. The only scene that bothered me, and I don't know why it bothered me as much as it did, but the only scene that I had a problem with was when they were zooming away from him
Oh, and the box got bigger or something.
And the box just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I thought, okay, you've now turned my claustrophobia into a little bit safer place.
Yeah.
For no reason, because we know that's not the case.
Yeah, it was kind of a cool camera trick and a cool...
It was, but...
It was a cool moment, but you're right. I was like, wait, his box just got... He could stand up now.
Yeah.
So that's where I am on this. We'll talk more later.
And it's funny, Andrew, you hadn't joined the podcast yet, but we did, and it was probably one of our our first Halloween movies. I can't remember. But we did our top 3 worst ways to die, right? We did that in a movie for the show, and none of us picked this. None of us picked this. I think I picked like eaten by a shark, and like being thrown from an airplane or getting sucked into space or something like that. Like I don't think I picked this. I mean, this might make the list now. I don't know.
This is definitely my number 1.
And Corny and I, again, we have mentioned maybe ad nauseum, I don't know, that we love the TV show Leverage. And there's an episode that kind of parallels this, right? One of the characters gets buried alive, and he's given a cell phone so that his team can pay a ransom, but his team's awesome, and they are able to find him fairly quickly. But the big difference is that his team is, still in the States, and, the bad guys couldn't have gotten very far, so they have limited resources. I mean, he's in another country. So the local law enforcement agency is not an option. But I kept thinking, Corny, I mean, did you get a feel of that episode for a bit?
I did actually, and I was thinking, he'll call Parker and he'll talk him down. She'll sing a song.
Yeah, or he'll claw his way through the front or the top or whatever. I mean, okay, so
she'll tell him to roll to the left, but with no reference as into where his head was.
Right, and she's gonna shoot through it. It's such a good episode. It's actually a really genuinely good episode. Go watch Leverage. Everyone should go watch Leverage. It's such a flippin' great show. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. And that's a really great episode specifically. But not this movie. Corny.
This movie proved to me that I may be becoming emotionally dead inside. This movie did not wreck me. It wasn't as uncomfortable as I thought it would be. After the first 3 minutes, I was fine. Nothing gave me the shock or it just didn't do enough to me. No, it didn't. I mean, like I'll go ahead and say this. This is a very well done movie, I thought. It just for Ryan Reynolds being in a box for that long time.
I got a guy in a box.
It's a guy in a box.
Step 1.
He portrayed all the emotions that I would expect him to put in the box. You still got a little bit of the trademark Ryan Reynolds wit and humor and cursing. I especially appreciated the FU.
After being polite to it.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I've cursed.
I should have captured that
please.
one. I should have captured that.
Thanks, FU.
Yeah.
That's me. I want that to be my thing. But no, it didn't break me like it should, and so that kind of bothered me a little bit. Not that the movie didn't bother me. The fact that it didn't wreck me, because I know I don't like being claustrophobic. But maybe in my mind it was like, it's a movie. It's Ryan Reynolds. He's still alive. You saw him recently, so I don't know. But no, I thought it was just a really well done movie. And for, you said $1 million?
Yeah, 3 million was the budget. Yeah.
Worth every dime. Just for what they did there. It made sense how they used the props. There's no 1-inch punch to get out, and and so things had to be resolved. And but it's the one of those like monkey paw type of stories where this thing is this and this thing is this, and you're like, but this thing happened. You're like, oh no. But I guess we'll get to that soon. But yeah, good movie.
He says good movie. You said good movie like we said Doctor Strange was a good movie. Okay. No, that's fine.
Strange was not good.
What? Strange was a good movie. We all liked it.
It was.
Yeah, we all liked
It's
it.
okay.
We liked it. It's good. Sam.
Okay, so, I have to admit, I was the one that came up with the list of Halloween movies
Yep.
to put on the website.
All your fault.
Yeah, and, I saw Ryan Reynolds, because this was an Amazon streaming thing, so I saw Ryan Reynolds buried, a guy, looks like he's in a coffin, and I'm thinking, ooh, this is going to be kind of fun. It'll be funny, it'll be quirky, it'll be, like I said before, Van Wilder in a box, and, good God, from the start of this freaking thing, I think I would react pretty much how he started reacting from the beginning to the end of this movie, because he was going nuts within the first few seconds of figuring out where he was. And, we talked about some of the worst ways to die in movies, and there wasn't a lot of pain in this, except for what he had to do later. But I think the worst part of this whole ordeal is just knowing.
Yeah.
There's no escape. There's no way getting out of here. And have something in a small area like that. I'm kind of with you, Andrew, and I think so, Sean, in terms of, if I had to go crawl in the crawl space below our stairs to go fix something, it might give me pause after seeing something like this. I'm gonna have to wait a while to do that, and I've been in some pretty crazy places. Our house in Florida had a little crawl space underneath it that we always had to go to move wires and things like that. And in construction, you're always in tight places, but my goodness gracious, to be in a wooden box with a lighter and a cell phone, with a lighter, cell phone, flashlight.
Yeah, and then he found eventually he would find the flashlight and some glow sticks.
Yeah,
and a snake. And a pocket knife.
In terms of taking me out of the movie, the snake did it a little bit, only because I was like, first of all, how did it get down there? And secondly, I'm thinking, ooh, if the snake found its way down there, there's some sort of air tunnel that, is available to him. And then I would think, oh, well, then you do the Kill Bill with try to get through the wood and kind of dig yourself up through it. But, oh, good Lord. The phone calls in this is what wrecked me, too. All the people that were not helpful at all, including the owner of the company, when he basically said, you were fired before you were taken hostage, so no more health insurance or no more life insurance for your family. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Gotta make money.
And then he calls his mother, who doesn't remember him or doesn't.
Yeah,
it's just
she's
like
got Alzheimer's.
every freaking move in this movie is like, it's just hard to watch.
Yeah, it's
the worst possible. Every situation is the worst possible situation, but they make it believable.
Yeah.
They make, the snake came and he had to try to set it on fire to get it out. Okay, all right, I understand that. Oh, well, all these people are trying that hard to get him. Oh, I can understand that. His mother has Alzheimer's. Okay. It never gets totally above the point of unbelievability. And I don't know if you can say I enjoyed the movie, but I respect it for what it is.
Right.
Sam, you enjoyed it. You're a murderer.
You're a high functioning sociopath. That's fine.
What did you think, Sean?
I kind of already did my intro earlier. Yeah. I just and corny. I don't think you're emotionally dead by this movie not affecting you because
20 minutes here.
Well, but Children of the Corn affected you in a way that it didn't affect the three of us.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make you emotionally dead. It just makes you different because
It's because I'm tall.
Well, maybe because there's, maybe you don't have like an inherent fear of being buried alive. Maybe you think, bad guys are going to take me. They're going to have to, it's going to take a lot of them to get you into a coffin.
They're going to have to drag my fat ass. They're going to have to put my fat ass in a casket and then carry that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
It's like putting a lid on a plastic container.
They're going with me.
Right. So.
Yeah. When the food is too much in the plastic container and you can't get the lid quite on, that's kind of me putting in a casket. Right. They'd have to kind of bend the lid to get me into something like that.
Then you squeeze and you hear that click. Like, okay, good, we're good.
But then it just pops back up.
Like, damn it, I only got 3 sides. Gotta get that 4th Tupperware.
You just keep hearing me going, ow, stop.
Yeah. I can hear Cordy. Excuse me, give me a BlackBerry. I need a Samsung if this is going to work. No. So this movie so we've kind of danced around it. I'm just going to go there. Let's just do it. This is going to rip this Band-Aid off. If you've not seen this movie, and some people listen to the show, they don't watch the movie, which is fine.
Yeah.
Here it is. He dies at the end.
Yes.
He is not saved. He dies in such a way. There's 2 parts of the way that he died that is part of the wrecking of me emotionally. One is that he is being buried alive. Literally, the coffin has broken because of the events outside, and so sand is filling in, and he sees it happening, and there's nothing he can do. He's trying to stop it, but it's pouring in, and there's nothing he can do, and he's running out of air. He's running out of space, and then the hostage negotiator guy, Dan, calls him to tell him that we found you. We know where you are. A guy said that
they're digging.
Yeah, a guy saw you buried, and we're digging. And then you hear on the phone the digging, and then you hear the open. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's the wrong guy." So he dies hearing his last words he'll ever hear on this planet are "I'm sorry." Right. The second part about that particular thing is so when we first meet meet over the phone the hostage guy, Ryan is pissed off. He's like, "Look, how many people have you?" Because he's in this situation where he's like, he knows he's not going to get out of this. So he says, "How many of you survived? You saved?" He's like, "A few, not as many as we would like, but we saved a few." And he says, "Give me the name of one." He's like, "Michael White." So he remembers that name. And then in the end, the very last moment when Dan goes, he says, "We're here. We're opening the cave," and he goes, "Oh, it's Michael White. I'm sorry." Ryan has then realized in the last seconds of his life that this guy who he's put his life in the hands of this person lied to him.
Yeah.
Everyone in this movie has screwed him except his wife. Literally. Well,
no, she did too.
Yeah, he does have a kid. But in the moment, right?
Yeah.
When he needed somebody the most, he could not find anybody.
He could find no one. I mean, the hostage takers made him do a video saying that he was, so he had to do an online video back when you had to turn the camera around so you couldn't see what you were doing before they put cameras on the front of the camera on the phone. That was a thing.
They made him cut off his freaking finger
he made
for
him
nothing.
Yeah, he made a cut, so he had to endure some pain for ultimately nothing. But the part, give me just a second, Andrew. Sorry, the part that actually got me honestly the worst. I was infuriated, and I mean yelling at I was home alone. I was literally yelling at my TV. Is when Steve Toblonsky calls, right? Hey, it's Ned Ryerson. When he calls, right? And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to record this thing." I'm like, "What is happening?" And then he says, "You signed all these contracts." And I realized in that moment, he's covering his ass so that he doesn't get sued. Because what I think, before what happens, I'm thinking, oh, he's afraid that his wife is going to sue the company for what's about to happen, right? That maybe if he dies or if he doesn't die, but he's still captured, right? Because at that moment you still have hope that he's going to get out of this.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking he's going to try to find a way to make sure that they don't get sued, right? You signed a contract that said that if you get taken hostage, blah, 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 right? Then he pulls out this bullshit about how he has this relationship with this woman, which you have to take Ryan Reynolds at face value that he didn't. He says, no, we're just friends. And he's just defeated and just deflated, and you can see the hope draining from him as this guy said, so you were fired. And he says, so if I die in here, my wife gets nothing. He's like, yep, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, if you could just reach to the phone and strangle him, you would. Oh, that hurt me so much more than anything else in this movie.
You know what actually bothered me about that scene more?
What's that?
After he dies, that's the end of the movie. What I hate is they missed an opportunity for Barry 2 where he exacts his revenge on CRT.
Yeah.
And buries him alive.
Yeah. That would actually be kind of a fun one where like he somehow survives. The snake comes back and he uses it as a breathing tube. And
he comes out of the ground
wrinkly
and
yeah, and he's able to get out, and then No, I like this. In fact, did you guys see the preview? I never saw the movie, but it's the movie where like the experiment at the building, where all the people that work inside the building have to kill each other.
Yeah, I want to see that one.
Like that's Ryan Reynolds exacting his revenge on CRT or whatever they're called. That's him. No,
Yeah. And it's such a minimalistic film.
Oh yeah.
But yet it keeps your attention. I watched this today at work, and I found myself having a hard time concentrating on anything else because I kept looking at this stupid thing, thinking, "What the heck is going on next?" Or how is he going to get himself out of this?
Yeah.
You don't expect Ryan Reynolds to die in a movie.
And I took very few notes for the same reason. It's just like you couldn't turn away because you saw there was so little on screen to see. Yeah. You had to make sure you didn't miss anything. Because I did. I took a note. Nice. I took a note and I looked up and all of a sudden there's a snake in there. And I'm like, wait. I had to go back and rewind it because I had to figure out where it came from. I was afraid. At first, when I first saw it, I thought it was in that bag that they had the cell phone and the flashlight and stuff, that they put a snake in there just to be dicks. And then we find out that it came from that hole, which I was still confused about. Like, do snakes go underground? I don't know if that's a thing or not.
Yeah, they're not like worms. They don't push themselves through the ground.
Yeah, they can't. They don't burrow.
Well, the earth was moved over and it was under. I mean, some snakes do burrow just a little bit.
Do they? I don't know. Maybe Iraqi snakes do. I don't know.
Well, there's a specific sand snake that does that. I'll look it up.
Yeah. I mean, I was just curious. I mean, honestly, that was the only part of the movie that I kind of did a little bit of an eye roll. Like, do we really have to make?
Of course, there's a snake.
Do we have to create more peril for this poor man?
Sand vipers, bro.
Yeah.
All right, here's a question: Who did it first, CSI or Buried?
What do you mean?
Remember the Quentin Tarantino CSI, the two-parter where what's his name was buried alive?
No, I didn't watch CSI.
Oh, dude, one of the
I remember that episode. That
best CSIs ever.
Oh, which one? Who was it? Was buried?
What's his name?
The guy that stands sideways and takes his glasses off.
No, this is the Las Vegas show.
Oh.
Nick.
Yeah.
Nick was, and it's. I think at some point he starts getting stung by like red ants that get into his coffin.
Yeah. I would have believed that, like ants or like a scorpion. I don't know if Iraq has scorpions, but something like that. The snake was weird, and the fact that I guess he fell asleep or something.
Yeah.
He was so exhausted,
knocked out or something.
Yeah, because he woke up and it was in his pants. That was actually going to be Corn. That was actually going to be your middle name. Is that a snake in your pants, or are you just? No, it's a snake. That was going to be your middle name, or Andrew. Sorry, that was going to be Andrew. That was
the long black snake in his pants.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies.
Yeah, hello. Anyway, so I will say this as I was watching this movie. And I mean, up until the last second of the movie, and I mean, it literally credits started, I thought, you okay, Sam?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. I thought the whole thing was fake. That he was actually, for the whole time I thought, because the way people were reacting to him, it all seemed so strange. And like, he calls the people, and they're like, they know his name, and like, how would you know my name? And like, it all felt like
They asked his social security number, and he's like, "Why do you need my social
yeah,
number?"
like the whole thing was some ploy to blackmail him or to get something from him, and that at some point at the end of the movie, towards the end, they would pop the crate off after the bad guys had gotten everything that they wanted from him, right? Like he was actually never in the desert in buried, right? He was always like in some warehouse or something, right? Like
Soylent Green's people.
right, like I always thought it was gonna be like there was gonna be a twist, right? Like we're gonna have some kind of Shyamalan twist. Nope.
Nope. It's as straightforward as it can be.
And the only
I
other
thought the same thing though, Sean. I was
Yeah.
like, for a second there, I was like, did his company bury him alive?
right.
I had the same same thoughts.
Yeah, like, or is this not a prank? Nothing like that, because that's
prank. Oh my
no. But I mean, like, is it his company's way of making sure that he's gonna toe the company line or something? Like, like all of the other guys were killed, but he was the only survivor, so this is the company's way of trying to figure out what happened to the cargo, whatever, right? Like, it always kind of felt like Resident Evil, like the Umbrella Company or something. Like there was something else going on. And then the end of the movie, I'm like, oh no, everything we get is face value, and they lost a perfectly good BlackBerry. And I did get a little frustrated is that he made his will on the video, but he didn't send it anywhere. So they're gonna have to find his coffin, dig up the phone, put a charger to it, and then find the video. So I mean, it might be years before his wife gets his $700. So
that was sad to me too. He is nothing. He really is a truck driver. He is nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And again, because freaking Steve Slablonsky, because of him and his BS company, she will literally get nothing. I mean, now she and her kid are going to incur all the debt. I mean, I guess I'm not even going to say it, but I mean, it's awful. The whole thing sucks. I thought it was a very inappropriate joke. Sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, there's two other things that kind of bothered me a little bit. He's using a lighter, and he's in a wooden coffin. Wouldn't there be some sort of smoke inhalation that he's...
Well, that's only if you burn the wood. But you saw it.
It's going up the snake hole.
It
but you see the char marks on
yeah, he burned the hell out of it. Yeah. I don't know if it would smoke all that much. I mean, unless you really caught the wood on fire.
Well, my big thing was, what about the air, for God's sake?
Yeah,
that fire is taking up his air.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I kept thinking was, stop using the lighter.
Yeah.
And then the burner or whatever he said kept saying, don't worry about the lighter. You're fine. Just,
Well, he's probably thinking, we're going to get you out before you run out of air.
Right.
So it won't matter. But
the other thing that really got to me, and this is where, I mean, again, this just pulls on heartstrings with kids. When his son is on the answering machine, I literally, had the little lip quiver and the cloudy eyes for a moment, because I was like, oh my God, I can't take that. After all this emotional anxiety about being buried alive, the last thing I need right now is to hear some little kid's voice, because that ripped my heart out.
And then he promises his wife, I swear I'm going to get out of this. I promise.
Yeah.
Because he had hope, right? Because, Dan was on the way. I mean, he has hope.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that just got me, is just he had hope, and then he dies at the end knowing that that dude lied to him and that he was wrong. I almost would have wanted him to just lie. We're almost there, and then maybe Reynolds dies with the hope in his heart that he's going to get rescued. I mean, is that worse or better than dying knowing that the dude that you trusted just lied to you and is wrong? Oh, just rough.
I'm sure we all probably thought it watching this, But they said while he was on the phone, you must not be buried too deep underground because you can still get a cell signal.
Mm-hmm.
When the box broke, when the coffin broke, you know, he had tried pushing on it before just to try to get out. I wondered at that point, okay, why isn't he trying now? Now that the box is broken, why isn't he trying to push out and get out?
Yeah, like he could have turned over in his stomach because we've already seen him do that. And then with the box being broken and sand coming in, why not brace yourself and try to push through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would keep it from covering your face up.
The other part that and again, now I'm doing the thing where I put myself in his shoes, and again, corny, and it's a lot of it's because I've seen that episode of Leverage, and because I'm an audio guy. But why does the box break? Right? It's because of an airstrike. Right? The U.S. government does an airstrike above him. He gets on the phone immediately and says, "Where you guys just did an airstrike, you hit me. The earth shook above me and my box is broken. I'm in that area." Like that's information that could be useful. So, you know, where the smoking crater is where I am. And then it wasn't until later that they even kind of mentions it. He's like, "Did you kill them?" And he said, "Well, yeah, we traced the cell and we killed them." He's like, "So now I'm never going to get out of here." And it's like this okay, I just have to accept this. No, you bombed them where I am, so I'm there. Go to that location and do like they did in Leverage and make noise. Again, he heard the jets. Like, go to the area, get a freaking bullhorn, and just make noise. And then say, "Oh, I hear you. You're getting louder, you're getting colder." I felt like there was more that could actually have been done.
Yeah.
But again, ultimately, I understand the point of the movie is to just wreck us all emotionally by having him die in this horrible way.
Well, and also, I feel like this movie is a story, excuse me, about how kind of crooked and deceitful that businesses and government can be.
Yeah.
You know, this very well could have been, he could have been easily found very quickly, like you said,
had the resources been used to do so.
Right. But part of me, in the back of my mind, and maybe you're supposed to think this, or at least maybe that's what they wanted you to think, is they could have traced the phone very easily.
Yeah,
they could have done something else like that to track him down.
Like call and make a threat on the president's life multiple times to multiple people. I'm sure they tracked that phone down immediately.
Well, I guess, and here's the other thing, Corny. Now, again, maybe we've watched too much TV, too much CSI or NCIS. I don't know if that phone was GPS enabled, but once he learned the phone number, right? I mean, he's got the phone number. I mean, he can, like, can we triangulate? Can we do something? Like, we live in a world where we've watched so much TV where I'm like, the NYPD can just do a thing where they can ping your phone. Why can't the U.S. Army do that kind of a thing?
And maybe this is before the Find My iPhone app.
Well, I mean, I mean, this is 2006, so that BlackBerry is the only smartphone that was on the market at the time. Yeah. So I understand that, and so that's what I'm saying. It's probably not GPS enabled, but
that's the same phone I had in college.
It's still.
I'm sure it didn't have GPS.
Yeah, I'm sure it didn't either. But it's still a cell phone. It has to hit a cell tower, right?
You can triangulate the position from there.
You gotta have to feel like that way, right? Like, how many cell towers are in Iraq at this point anyway, right? Like, there can't be many. Bless you.
Excuse me.
So I don't know. Again, a lot of these things the only things that, again, I took very few notes. The things that I felt like in the moment where it really bothered me. Here's the one thing that I mentioned earlier, the credits. The opening credits, they did a lot of, I don't know if you guys noticed it. It says, buried. with Ryan Reynolds. The next credit, sound mixer, Bob Newhart. I'm like, sound mixer? They don't put those guys in the opening credits. It's usually like line producers, executive producers, director of photography, director. No, they had mixer and makeup guy and craft services. Like they did like the whole.
That's because there's only like 10 people involved with this.
I know, it was very weird. That was very funny, but I mean, I also like there was a really cool 180-degree shot of the coffin to show you the full length of the coffin. I thought it was a very cool shot. People who did
there
that.
Were a lot of cool shots in this, though.
There really were.
To keep it in one place, but yet keep it a unique style and a different visual, so many different times. Of that tiny little freaking space.
I actually like the zoom cuts or the zoom jumps. When he's like, "Where are you?" Like, "Come find me," whatever. Like he would say these impact moments, and the camera would do those jump zooms in on him, and I'm like, "Oh, that's actually kind of Sam Raimi-ish. I like that."
Did anybody else at the beginning feel like your Netflix? Because
when it turned black and there was nothing.
Yeah, it's just a black screen for a good 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. In fact, I turned up the volume. I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, no, I kind of like, wait, did my Amazon just crash? Like, what just happened? Yep, I did the exact same thing. So you're not wrong. Only one of the notes I wrote. So people who did that, hello. No, we're not here. Those people were.
Oh, I want to punch. If I get that, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Yeah, and
oh my god.
And it's funny because Corny, you know this. Obviously, Andrew and I, we lived together in college for a year, and we were the last people in America, other than our parents, that had a landline. This is 2003. We still had a landline for the apartment, so we actually had an answering machine, and we would do funny outgoing messages, usually with Andrew doing a funny voice, whatever, and we would have music. I mean, it was a production, and people would literally call the apartment just to listen to our outgoing messages. But we were never this douchey and did this kind of a thing. Like, I hated people that did this stuff. It drove me crazy. I will say this, Andrew. Were you that guy, Corny?
No, I wanted to do it, but, my mom would call and she'd be real upset with me if I did that.
Right? I mean, because anyone that actually needed you would be pissed. Like this guy. When he thought that woman was on the phone and he yelled at her and then hung up and called her back and then said, "F you." I should have captured it. I didn't. I only captured 3 clips because there's no joy in this movie. Literally, like that moment was one of the 3 funny moments in the entire movie. The movie is without joy and very little humor. And I frankly just didn't want to have a whole bunch of clips that reminded me of how depressing the movie is.
It's probably good they didn't try to add humor. I don't know if it would have worked as well.
And it wouldn't have. Yeah, you can't obviously have like a Deadpool kind of a thing happening or anything like that. I wrote, he assumes that those pills he's taking are his. Again, I didn't know if that was going to be a thing. It wasn't, but who knows. Where the hell did that snake come from? No way it was in his clothes the entire time. It would have bit the shit out of him, I wrote. Wait a minute. Actually, this is where things started to kind of make me weird out, right? It was when Dan said, "Just hold the star button and it'll turn it over to Ringer." How did you know what kind of phone he has? Right? Like,
so you were getting all conspiracy to that. Oh, wow.
I was thinking at that level. I'm like, he doesn't know he has a BlackBerry. Why would he know that? Like, if I had my Sony Ericsson, which I had in 2006, why would that button wouldn't work. My wife had a Nokia. Girlfriend at the time, but she 2006, yeah. That wouldn't have worked. Actually, in 2006 she had a Motorola Razr. But again, that wouldn't have worked. So, again, that's where I started getting like conspiracy, like, oh, Dan's in on it too. And it kind of made me think like he keeps calling a number, but the phone is like somehow not cloned. Corny, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it doesn't matter what he dials; he's dialing the same person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's actually dialing like a team of people.
It's all routed to.
Yeah, routed. That's a word. I couldn't think of a word that was appropriate. But like the phone isn't real. It's a prop. And that
You're not real.
Well, like he keeps thinking he's calling. Actually, he thinks he's calling his. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't until his actual wife answered before I thought, oh, maybe this. I just I was going conspiracy. Maybe because I was hoping. Like that gave me hope as an audience.
What did we learn? Hope is everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did write this, Corny, mostly actually for you. While they're trying to prevent him from getting sued, and having to pay his insurance, sounds like his wife needs leverage. I did write that.
Oh, what a great standoff! What a great sequel to that. They do a leverage episode based on this.
Right, where they go and help her.
Oh yeah.
And that should be the leverage movie if they ever make a leverage movie, which I hope they do. I don't know if they will.
How would they do that?
What do you mean?
Having never seen a leverage,
So the point of leverage, again, this is now we're turning into a leverage podcast, which I would love to do.
But is it like A-team type of thing where they go and build something and then save the people?
They don't build anything. Well, sometimes they build things, but mostly what the idea is, like, so Sam, you work for the state. And then, no, this doesn't work in that case. You work for a private company, usually has to be big, kind of large conglomerate.
Apple.
Well, okay. You work for Apple, and you have a horrible level supervisor who basically fires you. You invent the iPhone 12, and then you're about to submit your project to whatever, and then he takes it from you and then submits it for his own and says, because you work for this division, all of your work comes to me, and then he fires you and you get nothing, right? So you call leverage, and so what they do is they run what they would call, like they would run a game on that person. They would find some way to get what is rightfully yours back to you, whether that means they just steal it or whether they do a con, or it just depends on the scenario, but they would do something to find a way to, quote unquote, for you to get leverage. You have a heavy in the pilot episode. The pilot episode, they said you have a heavy burden on you. We are here to provide leverage, and that's what they do. They are, and also they say in the pilot, we pick up where the law leaves off. So yeah, they break some rules and some laws, but ultimately to help a lot of laws. Hacking laws and other theft kind of laws, but ultimately to help people. So it's literally a Robin Hood kind of a scenario. And the show is kind of anti big government, big business. It's kind of a left leaning show in that way. I mean, if those sensibilities you don't like that, then you probably won't like the show. And it comes across really obvious, especially in the last season, where they basically attack Walmart. It's not called Walmart, but it's basically a Walmart. They try to shut down a Walmart store because it's quote unquote going to kill the town. But of course they have to make the employees at Walmart these horrible humans. They've got like these 75-year-old people who have to work 12-hour shifts without breaks. Like, okay, hang in there. You know what I'm saying? Like they get a little bit too far, but yeah. But there's some really great episodes. I mean, so I'm telling you, Sam, I think you'd really dig it, honestly. The potato episode is probably my favorite episode. I mean, you just got to look the part, Corny.
Or the fact that they do callbacks to previous episodes.
Yeah.
Often, which every show that does that, that's the reward for the.
Yeah, it's your
the watchers. Yeah.
Psych did that all the time. NCIS just did it in this last week. I love stuff like that. So anyway, sorry to go on a leverage rant, not rant, but a leverage hole. But
y'all just need to watch Leverage. That's what we're saying.
I mean,
you followed it down into the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Corny, if you ever had enough, Corny, if you had. Oh. I wish I had my computer at home, because if I did, I would do the Dumb and Dumber quote. If you find yourself in the hole, you just got to keep digging. It's one of my favorite moments. Do I have that handy? I don't think I do.
Now here's okay. Getting back to Buried.
Yeah, please.
Using somebody other than Ryan Reynolds would have made it more relatable in terms of a blue collar guy.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, we like Ryan Reynolds because he is charismatic. I mean, he is. You want to be friends with Ryan Reynolds, right?
Oh yeah, gosh.
You know, what if this was, I don't know, Joe Pesci?
I couldn't. Okay, I know. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you said it to get it out of the way.
This movie is Joe Pesci.
But
Let me out of the box. Let me out of the box.
I wouldn't have wanted to watch that because I would have been so annoyed. But I mean, I don't know if. I mean, we play the recasting game sometimes. I mean, who else would you want to have in that box? I mean,
that's what I was trying to think. You know,
who? Idris Elba?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, he's still too good looking. He's not.
Steve Buscemi then, if you want to do that.
But then again, I don't want to listen to that voice or see those teeth up close.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Chris Evans. I mean, I guess he could probably punch his way through it, right?
Yeah.
Gary Busey.
Oh, he's crazy. He's fine. Anyway, hey, I found it.
We're in a hole. We're just gonna have to dig ourselves out.
There we go. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you put. I don't know how you put in the role, but anyway.
Maybe Chris Pratt, maybe, or is he still too pretty?
He's Ryan Reynolds light.
Old Chris Pratt.
Actually, you're kind of right. He is kind of Ryan Reynolds light. I mean, I don't know. That's the problem with Hollywood because it's just full of attractive people.
I said Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, you did, but again, like I don't want to hear him. You throw me in the fish for an hour and a half. You know.
You buried my fish.
Yeah. So anyway, do you want to hear some clips? The few that I got. You know, are we ready?
A lot of them.
Are we ready for that?
Are these going to be all depressing?
Well, no. I mean, I only captured 3,
Okay.
so like actually one of them is kind of depressing.
Just like a Pokemon.
Or you could have put oh God, what's his name? Tyrion Lannister.
Oh,
in a box.
Yeah. Would you have to make it a smaller box? Well, no. I mean, he's a short dude. I mean, let's be honest. He's a short dude. I mean, that's not a secret. But I mean, to keep the tension. I mean,
Save money on set design.
just having him.
Damn, Sam.
Your eyes, Andrew?
That's not me.
It was Andrew moving to the mic.
Who was that?
It was Andrew.
Oh, okay.
He forgot he was unmuted. But I mean, like, in order, because that cell phone scene when the phone's ringing and he has to turn around to get to it. It's like we've all been kind of in these awkward, tight spots, and like we can totally sympathize and get it. And so I'm sitting there watching, just like, oh, that hurts my back. Oh, that hurts my knees. Oh, that hurts my neck. You know, just I felt pain while watching the movie. So like, I totally get it. Clip number 1. This one's called "Don't Be Rude."
Sir, I have FBI field offices listed in Boston, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia.
It doesn't matter. Any city, anywhere. Just connect me,
I'm
please.
sorry, sir, but I'm not allowed to do that.
Chicago, fine. Chicago, okay?
There's no need to be rude, sir.
There.
You want to punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was your first comic relief. Here's your second comic relief.
Okay, and has contact been made with the kidnapper?
Yeah, the guy says he wants $5 million by 9 o'clock tonight.
Okay, or else...
Or else he'll take me to SeaWorld. What the hell do you think, lady?
There you go. That and then the FU at the end of the phone call are the only 3 moments of levity in the entire movie.
So I was wondering, in that moment there, was that an ad lib?
Oh,
Probably.
I'm sure they probably had him do 5 or 6 ad libs, and you know they're gonna take me to SeaWorld. They're gonna take me to Harry Potter Land. They're gonna take me to Busch Gardens. You know, like whatever.
They're gonna take me to go see Deadpool in the future.
Yeah, 5 years in the future, I'm gonna go see Deadpool. It's gonna be great, and I'll have Hugh Jackman taped to my face.
Hugh Jackman, he could go to the box.
He'd claw his way out, wouldn't he? Just
Oh, that reminds me. I actually wanted to bring this up. I didn't know how to, but thank you for saying that, Sean.
You're welcome.
Didn't that bring up the rule that, the longer you live, the greater your chances you'll be trapped somewhere forever? Or there's a law about that or something?
Is there? I've never heard that. That sounds awful.
But something weird like, the chances that Wolverine would be pinned between two rocks increased the longer he lived.
Where he can't get out from, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's some kind of stupid little law, like,
Like a law of probability or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that. But, yeah, I thought it was...
Well, like laying at the bottom of a river, sunken by concrete with rebar.
Right.
Where people can't find you. Oh, wait, that was that movie that I didn't like. Yeah.
I finally watched X-Men Apocalypse, whatever it's called.
Apocalypse.
The third one of the new one. There's two.
Yeah.
I finally watched that one. Didn't like it either.
No.
It was.
I wanted to like it. But
I didn't. I mean, in corny, I guess. I mean, I don't really want to get in this conversation in this movie because it's not really a great time.
Well, this is happening.
But was Storm a bad person, a bad guy before she became a good guy? Like,
in Egypt, yeah, she was a street thief and like a low-level criminal, yeah.
but she was like straight up like willing to destroy the world until the end, where she was like, oh, maybe killing the world isn't the best idea.
What question? Was she controlled by Apocalypse?
I don't think so, or was she? I don't know. Maybe I don't remember.
There's also the
He did give her pretty cool clothes.
Well, he boosted their powers,
Yes.
but I don't think it was straight up mind control like Loki. Like, I think it was, I'm gonna give you these powers, therefore you will follow me because I've given you these extra powers. Because before,
he brainwashes his horseman.
is that what it was? Like a brainwashing?
Well, then she was considered a horseman in that movie.
Yeah, she was. So yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Because when we first see her, she's just like Sparky Boom, right? Like, she can't really do a whole lot. And then he gives her, a sensu bean, and then she's ready to go and like full on, weather control person. So
That we know of from, but I guess she keeps those powers, right?
yeah, and it just stays. So I guess maybe that's an explanation of why Magneto is so powerful. I don't know. Though I've made mention on this podcast. I've talked to you about it, Corny. I've always been kind of confused about Magneto and his powers and how that works, right? Like, how do you get stronger? Because Magneto in The Last Stand, like, almost can barely move the Golden Gate Bridge, yet Magneto in the 1980s can lift a baseball stadium, and like, while also controlling Sentinels, while also flying. Whatever. It's confusing. Like Deadpool says, it's confusing.
McAvoy
Or Stewart. The timeline is so confusing. Here's 15 seconds just to piss you off.
Now, how about the media? I know your ransom video leaked, but have you spoken directly to anyone about what's going on?
No.
Good. Needs to stay that way. It's important we keep the situation as contained as possible.
The situation's in a coffin! I think it's pretty contained!
Larry, can you pick up? There's some lady on hold. Sounds kind of hyper. That's what I was drawn back to when every time he was on the phone and he got put on hold. Like, I thought about Home Alone in the police station.
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of made me in that moment, as I listened to that clip now for like the fourth or fifth time, it made me think, as soon as I would have hung up with that guy, and I know he was defeated, just completely defeated because of the news he got, but it kind of made me think, I would probably call news media then. Right? Like, all right, fine, this is how you're going to be. I'm going to call a news media and say, hey, I'm my such and such. I work for the company. I've been taken hostage, and my company that I worked for just made up some bogus thing, and now they're not going to pay my death benefit to my wife because of they don't want to, it'll affect their bottom line. It'll mess up their budget. And I don't know. I feel like that's the only defiance he has in this moment. Like that's one of the only cards he has left to play, so to speak. So. Anyway, that's all the clips I wrote because I captured because again, there's no joy in this movie, so I didn't want to. I did, however, do this.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Ryan Reynolds states that he suffered from claustrophobia towards the end of filming, much like the character he's playing. This was mainly due to the fact that the coffin he was in was gradually filled more and more with sand as filming went on. He described the last days of shooting as, quote, unlike anything I've experienced in my life, and I never want to experience it again, end quote. Go ahead.
Oh, I could imagine. I'm sure he had to crawl into this box. Luckily, I don't think they closed.
Hey Sam, your internet's really bad. Yeah, it's awful right now. Why don't you deactivate your video and try that again? Oh, he's frozen. Okay. Yes, that's actually what you sound like.
Pretty clear on my end.
All right. Yeah, you sound like Hubert. I don't know. You sound like Hubert. You were saying about them closing up the box or whatever.
Yeah, when they're filming this thing, they're probably not closing it too much on him. And you don't.
Well, you have to have at least.
I think actors say these types of things and are like.
Well, I mean, method acting or whatever.
It sound like their job is worse than it really is.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah. Obviously, there can only be at most 3 sides closed because you got to put a camera in there. Mm-hmm. So anyway, shot in 17 days in Barcelona in a Barcelona studio. Ryan Reynolds was, just for a moment, actually buried in the shooting of the film's climactic moments. The production crew had a team of paramedics waiting on standby. And I've mentioned this before. I mentioned it earlier, but the government agent that is attempting to save Paul, Ryan Reynolds, is asked how many people he saved. He talks about, I said Michael White. I meant Mark White. He says he saved one, being Mark White. But when the agent thinks that he and his team are about to save, he states that he has actually opened the coffin containing the dead Mark White. This makes the agent's story a lie. Here's one thing I thought he was going to do, because there was a moment when Ryan Reynolds looks back and sees Mark White's name. I actually thought he was going to call him. All right, 411, Mark White, because he knew his name. He knew where he was living, Jersey. He knew he was in. He said because the guy told him the city and the state, so I thought he might give him a call and say, "Hey, did you go through this and make it out alive?" Yeah, Dan helped me out. You just hang in there, okay? That's kind of what I was expecting. Or the woman answers, "Is Mark White there?" No, he died in Iraq. Something like that. So, anyway, just another way to ruin us. Soundtrack grade, I gave it nothing. It was there, it was intense, and it just made the movie. I mean, it was minimalistic, so it fit the movie. So, burp derp.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
We're going with claustrophobic movie moments. So not every movie is just straight up claustrophobic the entire time, but maybe there's a moment or two where like you're watching the movie and you're just, I gotta get out of here. I need to go outside and breathe. So Andrew. Your list, sir.
Okay. There is a movie with what's his face and what's her face. Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams and the guy who played Scarecrow in the Batman Begins.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They're called Red Eye.
I've seen that.
And I think it's a pretty good movie. And so.
Being trapped on a plane.
And she can't. I mean, he's pretty much right there beside her, and she can't move. And the entire plane ride, he's basically
passing gas.
No, he's basically controlling her every move and controlling her life outside of the plane as well.
Yeah, it's
just like
movie.
a man, dude.
All right, what else you got?
Number 2, The Shining, and The Shining the claustrophobic moment is a little bit bigger. I mean, it's a huge hotel, but it's this one place that you can't leave during the movie.
Okay.
And so you're kind of stuck there for the majority of the film. And then number one, and this one is almost as bad as Buried, and that is called Sanctum. And if you haven't seen Sanctum, you need to watch it.
No, I've never seen it.
It is a movie about scuba divers, and they are underwater, and basically the same premise as this movie. They're running out of air, and you question whether or not they're going to make it at the end.
Are there a bunch of sharks circling and they're 47 meters down? Oh no, that's a different.
No. This one is basically cave diving, spelunking, only actual diving under the caves. So,
all right.
If you haven't seen it, it's great.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it. Corny.
I think it's got Sean Alfred.
What?
From Gotham.
His name.
What's his name?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think he's in that. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's great.
All right. Corny.
All right. Two shout outs. One to the scene in Elf where people walking through the winter wonderland. That for me is a nightmare. I don't want to go through that.
Okay.
Another shout out would be just to any movie with a bunch of kids. Dangerous.
Kindergarten Cop just wrecked you, didn't it?
It did, actually. Now I know why he quit acting. So, my number 3, I'm actually going to go with the bride being buried in a coffin in Kill Bill. My number 2, I'm actually going to go with another DC animated. It is called Doom. It's the Justice League storyline where Batman has a contingency plan for the Justice League, and someone steals those plans and tries to kill the Justice League, and one of which is putting Batman in a coffin, but he escapes because he's Batman.
Hey, before you give me your number 1, but we're here with the Justice League. So the new Justice League trailer just dropped, and I have to admit I'm kind of excited about it because I don't know if you noticed, but like in not every shot, but almost every shot, someone is smiling and kind of joking. And I'm wondering if most of that is like the Joss Whedon reshoots, like the redos. Because he did, they went back and they gave him like another $30 million to do reshoots and for some stuff. But the other part that I was really like thrown aback about, again, my limitation of the Justice League literally ends with Teen Titans. Okay, so zero expert, but I love that cartoon, and Beast Boy is my favorite of all time. But in the trailer, Cyborg can fly, like he's Iron Man, and I didn't know he could do that. I was like, oh, because he's flying around and he picks up Momoa and then tosses him, and he's laughing the whole time, which was fun because I kind of like that concept of this dude who's in a fight who's just laughing because this is what he craves, is battle. He's like, it's like watching a Klingon or something like that. Sorry to bring it to Star Trek, but it's kind of like that. Anyway, is that's a thing? He can fly?
I mean, technically, the Cyborg's actual cyborg body is based on mother box technology, and he kind of changed whatever he needs it to. Right. So, I mean, theoretically, it would have probably given him the ability to fly, or he just developed his own whatever. So I'll allow it.
I mean, I don't care. I was just curious because, again, my only experience of Cyborg is from Teen Titans, and the only thing that changes is his hand into his sonic gun. That's it. And then he uses his technology to make other vehicles. I mean, they make a spaceship and a car and a boat and a plane and stuff like that, but I didn't know he could fly. Anyway, sorry. So give us your number 1. Sorry, another random tangent, but I only get to talk to you once a week, and I get all these questions, and I have to ask them. So,
well, my personal opinion about that is that they're taking 2 storylines, and because they are doing two storylines from two different eras. To be a very cohesive story, it's just someone effing around with, oh, I like this idea, but I really like this idea too. Let's just combine them. No, there's a reason why they're written. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I digress. And my number one is another movie about hope. It's Star Wars: A New Hope in Patton scene.
Nice.
The trash compactor?
Trash compactor.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no real danger there because, it's the heroes in its movie, but still, it's
it keeps closing in. It's tight.
I got it.
Tight.
I got to
you got
admit,
some
Corny.
smart-ass robot up there that's probably debating on letting them die or not.
That's actually my number one too, so that's funny. All right. Cool. Sam.
Yeah. All right. My number 3 is Let's All Cut Off Our Arms in 127 Hours.
Nice.
Where he's stuck at the rock in the canyon. Although that movie at least gets you out of there every now and then.
Right.
With flashbacks and things like that. But, oh, God. Anyway. My number 2 is The Abyss.
Okay, yeah.
Specifically when they go out in the little submersible and it starts leaking.
Yeah.
And they basically, she has to die. And oh, God, I hate that part. And then I have Star Wars number 1. Trash compactor.
Oh, wow. That's 3 of us that picked that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out how to put Jurassic Park in there, but really there's not a whole lot of claustrophobic.
Well, the car, the Ford, the boy in the car in the tree. I mean, like he's stuck in the car and then he gets out and then the car lands on top of him. He says, well, we're in the car again. I mean, that's kind of claustrophobic.
Or whenever the dinosaur gets real close to her face and she has to turn away.
Or when the animatronic T-Rex crashed through the actual car.
When it wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's actually probably a couple. Or in Jurassic World when they're in the ball.
Yeah.
That would actually be kind of terrifying because you're stuck in this glass ball with freaking Jimmy Fallon on the TV. Like, that'd be kind of bad. I'm actually racking my brain thinking, there's got to be some Star Trek moment that I'm not thinking of. Like, they're stuck on the ship with the Borg or something like that. But
you got to know there's something from the show.
Yeah.
They're stuck somewhere.
Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah, Trouble with Tribbles. That's actually a pretty good one. It was the damn Tribbles are everywhere. That's actually a good one. But I didn't write it down.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, pal. My honorable mention was the elevator scene from Speed, and then the other one was the giant hourglass from Aladdin that Jasmine was stuck in.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
My number 3 was 13 Cloverfield Lane, all of it, until the end. Being stuck in a basement bunker with John Goodman would be terrifying. And then since you guys all did the trash compactor for Star Wars, I'll say the scene in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when the walls are about to cave in and she has to stick her hand into the bug hole and push the button.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, another good one that would be very end of the money, the very end of The Mummy where Benny is trapped in that room.
I've thought about that one too, yeah, when Benny is about to get it and the bugs come in and eat him.
See you, Benny.
Bye, Benny. Yeah. Not cool. All right. Well, that was terrifying. Okay.
Fun.
Wait,
what's supposed to happen?
Out of 10. We give a score to the movie because that's what we do. So,
Can't make me.
well, I mean, I guess you're technically right.
I'll take it to the grave with me.
Nice.
Too soon?
I don't know. Maybe. I got a feeling that this is probably going to score higher than Birdemic.
Yeah,
a little bit.
So I guess Andrew.
Well, I don't want to box us in with certain form, but as a movie itself, I do respect what it did and how it, the stories that it told, both literally and figuratively. I do appreciate a movie that can get inside your head and get inside your heart, and this one certainly did that. However, it's not something I want to watch probably ever again. But I would recommend it to someone that hasn't seen it. So I'm going to say maybe a 6.3
Okay.
out of 10.
Corny. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I was coughing. The
Oh, the puns are fantastic.
So I actually really enjoyed what they did with the movie, considering this is something I really haven't seen because I haven't seen 100 and whatever was it 127 hours.
127 hours.
Yeah. I haven't seen this whole I'm trapped in this thing and I'm going to be here for the entire movie kind of thing. Or I can't think of a movie at least, maybe. But I really, I'm with Andrea. I don't ever want to watch it again. But I definitely think it's a movie worth watching. Just to see how it's done and just to watch the hope drain from his eyes at the end. It's worth it. Well, no, I mean, because you don't really get to see that kind of I think it was a really good moment for Ryan Reynolds just to watch that happen. It's not like we had Steven Seagal doing that, and anyway.
Right.
But I'm going to actually give it a pretty high score. I'm going to give it a 7.7.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Totally not what I expected after hearing your first description.
I thought it was very well done. I mean...
Right, okay. Sam?
Yeah, I don't want to watch it again, but I would recommend it. I guess so people can share my pain. But I'll probably be thinking about it just like some of the other things we've seen in this darn podcast. So just because of that, I've got to put it probably around how about a 7.01?
Okay.
Yeah. 7.01 out of 10. Snakes in your pants. Out of 10.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to echo basically everyone. Don't ever want to watch it again. It's a joyless movie. It's downright depressing. It's kind of hard to watch.
It puts a hole in your heart.
I mean, yeah. It puts sand in places that you don't want sand either. So I
think about that. That pisses me off.
So, but again, it was a well-made movie, and the movie we talk about all the time, you know, on even on the Andrew scale, that it hold my attention absolutely, and did the movie set out to do what it intended, and it intended to, you know, give me this movie is an hour and a half of the first 10 minutes of Up. I mean, you know, just
damn,
like.
Yeah.
I think that's the phrase for the week.
It just is, and just gives you the feels, and just you feel for this poor man and his poor family. So, I mean, how do I rank that into a number? God, I don't know.
I bet they buried his dog too.
So I'm gonna give it I'm just gonna give it a 6. I don't really know how to quantify this movie. I just don't. I mean, it's a well-made movie, and there's really ultimately nothing wrong with it, except for a couple of points that we all talked about, mostly decision-making moments. But sorry, as I'm trying to have this kind of stoic moment, I get a text from a wrong number who keeps thinking that I'm somebody who I'm not. It's driving me crazy. I'm about to reply, new phone.
Is it from Iraq?
No, they're from High Point. It's a 336 number.
Oh, can you forward it to me? I'd like to.
Dear Mr. Yo-Yo.
I'm almost tempted to say, new phone, who dis?
Sean, you have an opportunity here.
Well, it's the same. It's the same number. They've actually called before. And they're looking for someone named Reggie, and I'm like, I'm not Reggie. Like, I promise you, I'm not. Like,
Who the F is ready? Like, you have to send that back.
Well, right now they've sent 3 texts. You ready? You ready? Yo. Wrong number, bro. That's what I'm writing. Anyway, no.
Sean, there's such an opportunity here.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah. First of all, who the F is ready?
Okay, I'm not doing this. We're not doing this over the podcast.
This could go somewhere.
Yeah, we need to end the podcast. Sorry.
Also, this gives you a chance.
Just take a selfie and post it. Yeah, do I look like a Reggie?
Again, well, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want them to know what I look like. All right, that's our show. No, we're done.
Take a picture of your ass than that.
Yes.
I'm not sending that. Next week we're doing The Babadook. It's on Netflix. The Babadook. It's a legit horror film. I heard it's terrifying.
Made by Adam Sandler.
I'm kind of scared to watch it. The Babadook. It does kind of sound like something he would say.
Yeah, I read the synopsis and I shit my pants.
Nice. GoFundMe.com/Cheapseat Reviews. You can help us out there. Anchor app. We have. I just got another text from. Go to our Anchor app. I'm gonna do some more stuff coming soon. I've been really, actually, kind of strangely busy for someone who, in my position. Leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. Please leave us reviews. It really helps the show. When you leave reviews and then it bumps up our rating on iTunes.
Yep.
And that way more people can watch the show or listen to the show.
We will read your review no matter what it is.
Oh, sure. We'll do that too. And, of course, you can go to our website, cheapseatreviews.com, and we're on Facebook and the Twitter. And you can send us an email to cheapseatreviews@gmail.com. Excuse me. That's going to do it for us. So after a very depressing movie, I'm going to try to end this on a fun note by saying thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And I'm about to have fun with this random person who I don't know who's sending me messages. So on behalf of Andrew, Corny, Sam, this is Sean saying thank you for listening and good night.
Just tell him you can't talk right now because you're buried in work.